Hadith 1. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, sent Mu'adh to Yemen and said, "Invite the people to testify that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, and I am Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and if they obey you to do so, then teach them that Allah has enjoined on them 5 prayers in every day and night, in 24 hours, and if they obey you to do so, then teach them that Allah has made it obligatory for them to pay the zakat from their property and it is to be taken from the wealthy among them and given to the poor." Hadith 2. Narrated Abu Ayyub, a man said to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, "Tell me of such a deed as will make me enter paradise." The people said, "What is the matter with him? What is the matter with him?" The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "He has something to ask, what he needs greatly." The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "In order to enter paradise, you should worship Allah and do not ascribe any partners to him, offer prayer perfectly, pay the zakat and keep good relations with your kith and kin." Hadith 3. Narrated Abu Hurairah, a Bedouin came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and said, "Tell me of such a deed as will make me enter paradise, if I do it." The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Worship Allah, and worship none along with him, offer the 5 prescribed compulsory prayers perfectly, pay the compulsory zakat, and fast the month of Ramadan." The Bedouin said, "By him, in whose hands my life is, I will not do more than this." When he, the Bedouin, left, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Whoever likes to see a man of paradise, then he may look at this man." Narrated Abu Zur'a, from the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, the same as above. Hadith 4. Narrated Ibn Abbas, a delegation of the tribe of Abdul Qais came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and said, "O Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. We are from the tribe of Rabi'ah, and the infidels of the tribe of Mudar stand between us and you, so we cannot come to you except during the sacred months. Please order us to do something, religious deeds, which we may carry out and also invite to it our people whom we have left behind." The Prophet said, "I order you to do 4 things and forbid you 4 others. I order you, to have faith in Allah, and confess that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah," and the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, gestured with his hand like this, that is, 1 knot, and to offer prayers perfectly and to pay the zakat, and to pay 1/5 of the booty in Allah's cause. "And I forbid you to use dubba, huntum, nakir and muzaffat, all these are the names of utensils used for preparing alcoholic drinks." Hadith 5. Narrated Abu Hurairah, when Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, died and Abu Bakr became the caliph, some Arabs renegade, reverted to disbelief. Abu Bakr decided to declare war against them. Umar said to Abu Bakr, "How can you fight with these people?" Although Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "I have been ordered, by Allah, to fight the people till they say, none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, and whoever said it, then he will save his life and property from me, except on trespassing the law, rights and conditions for which he will be punished justly, and his accounts will be with Allah." Abu Bakr said, "By Allah, I will fight those who differentiate between the prayer and the zakat, as zakat is the compulsory right to be taken from the property, according to Allah's orders. By Allah, if they refuse to pay me even a she-kid which they used to pay at the time of Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, I would fight with them for withholding it." Then Umar said, "By Allah, it was nothing, but Allah opened Abu Bakr's chest towards the decision, to fight, and I came to know that his decision was right." Hadith 6. Narrated Jarir bin Abdullah, I gave the pledge of allegiance to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, for offering prayer perfectly, giving zakat, and giving good advice to every Muslim. Hadith 7. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "On the day of resurrection, camels will come to their owner in the best state of health they have ever had, in the world, and if he had not paid their zakat, in the world, then they would tread him with their feet, and similarly, sheep will come to their owner in the best state of health they have ever had in the world, and if he had not paid their zakat, then they would tread him with their hooves and would butt him with their horns. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, added, one of their rights is that they should be milked while water is kept in front of them. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, added, I do not want any one of you to come to me on the day of resurrection, carrying over his neck a sheep that will be bleeding. Such a person will, then, say, O Muhammad, please intercede for me. I will say to him, I can't help you, for I conveyed Allah's message to you. Similarly, I do not want any one of you to come to me carrying over his neck a camel that will be grunting. Such a person, then, will say, O Muhammad, please intercede for me. I will say to him, I can't help you, for I conveyed Allah's message to you. Hadith 8. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, whoever is made wealthy by Allah and does not pay the zakat of his wealth, then on the day of resurrection, his wealth will be made like a bald-headed poisonous male snake with 2 black spots over the eyes. The snake will encircle his neck and bite his cheeks and say, I am your wealth, I am your treasure. Then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, recited the holy verses, let not those who withhold. To the end of the verse. Surah 3, Ayah 180. Hadith 9. Narrated Khalid bin Aslam, we went out with Abdullah bin Umar, and a Bedouin said, to Abdullah, tell me about Allah saying, and those who hoard up gold and silver, Al-Kanz, money, gold, silver etc., the zakat of which has not been paid, and spend it not in the way of Allah. Surah 9, Ayah 34. Ibn Umar said, whoever hoarded them and did not pay the zakat thereof, then woe to him. But these holy verses were revealed before the verses of zakat. So when the verses of zakat were revealed, Allah made zakat a purifier of the property. Hadith 10. Narrated Abu Sa'id, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, no zakat is due on property mounting to less than 5 uqiyas of silver, and no zakat is due on less than 5 camels, and there is no zakat on less than 5 wasks. A wask equals 60 sa'as, and 1 sa' equals 3 kilograms approximately. Hadith 11. Narrated Zayd bin Wahab, I passed by a place called Ar-Rabada, and by chance I met Abu Dar and asked him, what has brought you to this place? He said, I was in Sham and differed with Muawiyah on the meaning of the following verses of the Quran, they who hoard up gold and silver and spend them not in the way of Allah. Surah 9, Ayah 34. Muawiyah said, this verse is revealed regarding the people of the scriptures. I said, it was revealed regarding us and also the people of the scriptures. So we had a quarrel and Muawiyah sent a complaint against me to Uthman. Uthman wrote to me to come to Medina, and I came to Medina. Many people came to me as if they had not seen me before. So I told this to Uthman, who said to me, you may depart and live nearby if you wish. That was the reason for my being here, for even if an Ethiopian had been nominated as my ruler, I would have obeyed him. Hadith 12. Narrated Al-Ahnaf bin Qais, while I was sitting with some people from Quraysh, a man with very rough hair, clothes, and appearance came and stood in front of us, greeted us and said, inform those who hoard wealth, that a stone will be heated in the hellfire and will be put on the nipples of their breasts till it comes out from the bones of their shoulders, and then put on the bones of their shoulders till it comes through the nipples of their breasts. The stone will be moving and hitting. After saying that, the person retreated and sat by the side of the pillar. I followed him and sat beside him, and I did not know who he was. I said to him, I think the people disliked what you had said. He said, these people do not understand anything, although my friend told me. I asked, who is your friend? He said, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, to me, O Abu Dar, do you see the mountain of Uhud? And on that, I, Abu Dar, started looking towards the sun to judge how much remained of the day, as I thought that Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, wanted to send me to do something for him, and I said, yes. He said, I do not love to have gold equal to the mountain of Uhud, unless I spend it all, in Allah's cause, except 3 dinars, pounds. These people do not understand and collect worldly wealth. No, by Allah, neither I ask them for worldly benefits nor am I in need of their religious advice till I meet Allah, the Honorable, the Majestic. Hadith 13. Narrated Ibn Masud, I heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, there is no envy except in 2, a person whom Allah has given wealth and he spends it in the right way, and a person whom Allah has given wisdom, that is, religious knowledge, and he gives his decisions accordingly and teaches it to the others. Hadith 14. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, if one gives in charity what equals 1 date fruit from the honestly earned money, and Allah accepts only the honestly earned money, Allah takes it in his right hand, and then enlarges its reward for that person, who has given it, as any one of you brings up his baby horse, so much so that it becomes as big as a mountain. Hadith 15. Narrated Haritha bin Wahab, I heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, O people! Give in charity, as a time will come upon you when a person will wander about with his object of charity and will not find anybody to accept it, and one, who will be requested to take it, will say, if you had brought it yesterday, I would have taken it, but today I am not in need of it. Hadith 16. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the hour, day of judgment, will not be established till your wealth increases, so much so that one will be worried, for no one will accept his zakat, and the person to whom he will give it will reply, I am not in need of it. Hadith 17. Narrated Adi bin Hatim, while I was sitting with Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, 2 persons came to him, one of them complained about his poverty and the other complained about the prevalence of robberies. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, as regards stealing and robberies, there will shortly come a time when a caravan will go to Makkah, from Medina, without any guard. And regarding poverty, the hour, day of judgment, will not be established till one of you wanders about with his object of charity and will not find anybody to accept it. And, no doubt, each one of you will stand in front of Allah, and there will be neither a curtain nor an interpreter between him and Allah will ask him, did not I give you wealth? He will reply in the affirmative. Allah will further ask, didn't I send a messenger to you? And again that person will reply in the affirmative. Then he will look to his right and he will see nothing but hellfire, and then he will look to his left and will see nothing but hellfire. And so, each one of you should save himself from the fire even by giving half of a date fruit, in charity. And if you do not find a half date fruit, then, you can do it through saying, a good pleasant word, to your brethren. Hadith 18. Narrated Abu Musa, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, a time will come upon the people when a person will wander about with gold as zakat, and will not find anybody to accept it, and one man will be seen followed by 40 women to be their guardian, because of scarcity of men and great number of women. Hadith 19. Narrated Abu Masud, when the verses of charity were revealed, we used to work as porters. A man came and distributed objects of charity in abundance. And they, the people, said, he is showing off. And another man came and gave a sa, a small measure of food grains, they said, Allah is not in need of this small amount of charity. And then the divine inspiration came, those who criticize such of the believers who give in charity voluntarily and those who could not find to give in charity except what is available to them. Surah 9, Ayah 79. Hadith 20. Narrated Abu Masud al-Ansari, whenever Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered us to give in charity, we used to go to the market and work as porters and get a mud, a special measure of grain, and then give it in charity. Those were the days of poverty, and today some of us have 100,000. Hadith 21. Narrated Adi bin Hatim that he heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, "Save yourself from hellfire even by giving half a date fruit in charity." Hadith 22. Narrated Aisha, a lady, along with her 2 daughters, came to me asking for some alms, but she found nothing with me except 1 date which I gave to her, and she divided it between her 2 daughters, and did not eat anything herself, and then she got up and went away. Then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, came in, and I informed him about this story. He said, "Whoever is put to trial by these daughters and he treats them generously, with benevolence, then these daughters will act as a shield for him from hellfire." Hadith 23. Narrated Abu Hurairah, a man came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and asked, "O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, which charity is the most superior in reward?" He replied, "The charity which you practice while you are healthy, niggardly, and afraid of poverty and wish to become wealthy. Do not delay it to the time of approaching death and then say, 'Give so much to such and so much to such and such. And it has already belonged to such and such, as it is too late.'" Hadith 24. Narrated Aisha, some of the wives of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked him, "Who amongst us will be the first to follow you, that is, die after you?" He said, "Whoever has the longest hand." So they started measuring their hands with a stick, and Sauda's hand turned out to be the longest. When Zainab bint Jahash died first of all in the Caliphate of Umar, we came to know that the long hand was a symbol of practicing charity, so she was the first to follow the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and she used to love to practice charity. Sauda died later in the Caliphate of Muawiyah. Hadith 25. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "A man said that he would give something in charity. He went out with his object of charity and unknowingly gave it to a thief. Next morning the people said that he had given his object of charity to a thief. On hearing that, he said, 'O Allah, all the praises are for you. I will give alms again.' And so he again went out with his alms and, unknowingly, gave it to an adulteress. Next morning the people said that he had given his alms to an adulteress last night. The man said, 'O Allah, all the praises are for you. I gave my alms to an adulteress. I will give alms again.' So he went out with his alms again and, unknowingly, gave it to a rich person. The people, next morning said that he had given his alms to a wealthy person. He said, 'O Allah, all the praises are for you. I had given alms to a thief, to an adulteress and to a wealthy man.' Then someone came and said to him, 'The alms which you gave to the thief might make him abstain from stealing, and that given to the adulteress might make her abstain from illegal sexual intercourse, adultery, and that given to the wealthy man might make him take a lesson from it and spend his wealth which Allah has given him, in Allah's cause.'" Hadith 26. Narrated Ma'an bin Yazid, "My grandfather, my father and I gave the pledge of allegiance to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, got me engaged and then got me married. One day I went to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, with a complaint. My father Yazid had taken some gold coins for charity and kept them with a man in the mosque, to give them to the poor. But I went and took them and brought them to him, my father. My father said, 'By Allah, I did not intend to give them to you.' I took the case to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. On that, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, 'O Yazid, you will be rewarded for what you intended. O man, whatever you have taken is yours.'" Hadith 27. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, 7 people will be shaded by Allah under his shade on the day when there will be no shade except his. They are, 1. A just ruler. 2. A young man who has been brought up in the worship of Allah, that is, worships Allah alone, sincerely from his childhood. 3. A man whose heart is attached to the mosque, who offers the 5 compulsory congregational prayers in the mosque. 4. 2 persons who love each other only for Allah's sake and they meet and part in Allah's cause only. 5. A man who refuses the call of a charming woman of noble birth for an illegal sexual intercourse with her and says, I am afraid of Allah. 6. A person who practices charity so secretly that his left hand does not know what his right hand has given, that is, nobody knows how much he has given in charity. 7. A person who remembers Allah in seclusion and his eyes get flooded with tears. Hadith 28. Narrated Haritha bin Wahab al-Khuzai, I heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, O people! Give in charity, for Allah's cause, because a time will come when a person will carry his object of charity from place to place, and he will not find any person to take it, and any person whom he shall request to take it will reply, if you had brought it yesterday I would have taken it, but today I am not in need of it. Hadith 29. Narrated Aisha, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when a woman gives in charity some of the foodstuff, which she has in her house, without spoiling it, she will receive the reward for what she has spent, and her husband will receive the reward because of his earning, and the storekeeper will also have a reward similar to it. The reward of one will not decrease the reward of the others. Hadith 30. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the best charity is that which is practiced by a wealthy person. And start giving first to your dependents. Hadith 31. Narrated Hakim bin Hizam, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the upper hand is better than the lower hand, that is, he who gives in charity is better than him who takes it. One should start giving first to his dependents. And the best object of charity is that which is given by a wealthy person, from the money which is left after his expenses. And whoever abstains from asking others for some financial help, Allah will give him and save him from asking others, Allah will make him self-sufficient. Hadith 32. Narrated Ibn Umar, I heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, while he was on the pulpit speaking about charity, to abstain from asking others for some financial help and about begging others, saying, the upper hand is better than the lower hand. The upper hand is that of the giver and the lower hand is that of the beggar. Hadith 33. Narrated Uqbah bin al-Harith, once the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, offered the Asr prayer and then hurriedly went to his house and returned immediately. I, or somebody else, asked him, as to what was the matter, and he said, I left at home a piece of gold which was from the charity, and I disliked to let it remain a night in my house, so I got it distributed. Hadith 34. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, went out for the Eid prayer on the Eid day and offered a 2-rakat prayer, and he neither offered a prayer before it or after it. Then he went towards the women along with Bilal. He preached them and ordered them to give in charity. And some, amongst the women, started giving their forearm bangles and earrings. Hadith 35. Narrated Abu Burda bin Abu Musa that his father said, whenever a beggar came to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, or he was asked for something, he used to say, to his companions, help and recommend him and you will receive the reward for it, and Allah will bring about what he wills through his Prophet's tongue. Hadith 36. Narrated Asma, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to me, do not withhold your money, for if you did so, Allah would withhold his blessings from you. Narrated Abdah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, do not withhold your money by counting it, that is, hoarding it, for if you did so, Allah would also withhold his blessings from you. Hadith 37. Narrated Asma bint Abu Bakr, that she had gone to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and he said, do not shut your money bag, otherwise Allah too will withhold his blessings from you. Spend, in Allah's cause, as much as you can afford. Hadith 38. Narrated Abu Wa'il, Hudayfah said, Umar said, who amongst you remembers the statement of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, about afflictions? I said, I know it as the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, had said it. Umar said, no doubt, you are bold. How did he say it? I said, a man's afflictions, wrong deeds, concerning his wife, children and neighbors are expiated by his prayers, charity, and enjoining good. The sub-narrator Sulaiman added that he said, the prayer, charity, enjoining good and forbidding evil. Umar said, I did not mean that, but I ask about that affliction which will spread like the waves of the sea. I said, O chief of the believers, you need not be afraid of it, as there is a closed door between you and it. He asked, will the door be broken or opened? I replied, no, it will be broken. He said, then, if it is broken, it will never be closed again? I replied, yes. Then we were afraid to ask what that door was, so we asked Mushrik to inquire, and he asked Hudayfah regarding it. Hudayfah said, the door was Umar. We further asked Hudayfah whether Umar knew what that door meant. Hudayfah replied in the affirmative and added, he knew it as one knows that there will be a night before the tomorrow morning. Hadith 39. Narrated Hakim bin Hizam, I said to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, before embracing Islam, I used to do good deeds like giving in charity, slave manumitting, and the keeping of good relations with kith and kin. Shall I be rewarded for those deeds? The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, replied, you became Muslim with all those good deeds, without losing their reward. Hadith 40. Narrated Aisha, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when a woman gives in charity from her husband's meals without wasting the property of her husband, she will get a reward for it, and her husband too will get a reward for what he earned, and the storekeeper will have the reward likewise. Hadith 41. Narrated Abu Musa, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, an honest Muslim storekeeper who carries out the orders of his master and pays fully what he has been ordered to give with a good heart and pays to that person to whom he was ordered to pay, is regarded as one of the two charitable persons. Hadith 42. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, also said, if a lady gives meals, in charity, from her husband's house without spoiling her husband's property, she will get a reward, and her husband will also get a reward likewise. The husband will get a reward because of his earnings and the woman because of her spending. Hadith 43. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, also said, if a lady gives meals, in charity, from her husband's house without spoiling her husband's property, she will get a reward, and her husband will also get a reward likewise. The husband will get a reward because of his earnings and the woman because of her spending. Hadith 44. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when a woman gives in charity from her house meals in Allah's cause without spoiling her husband's property, she will get a reward for it, and her husband will also get the reward for his earnings, and the storekeeper will get a reward likewise. Hadith 45. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, every day two angels come down from heaven and one of them says, O Allah, compensate every person who spends in your cause, and the other, angel, says, O Allah, destroy every miser. Hadith 46. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the example of a miser and an alms-giver is like the example of two persons wearing iron cloaks. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, also said, the example of an alms-giver and a miser is like the example of two persons who have two iron cloaks on them from their breasts to their collar bones, and when the alms-giver wants to give in charity, the cloak becomes capacious till it covers his whole body to such an extent that it hides his fingertips and covers his footprints, obliterates his tracks. And when the miser wants to spend, it, the iron cloak, sticks and every ring gets stuck to its place and he tries to widen it, but it did not become wide. Hadith 47. See previous hadith. Hadith 48. Narrated Abu Burda, from his father from his grandfather, that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, every Muslim has to give in charity. The people asked, O Allah's Prophet, if someone has nothing to give, what will he do? He said, he should work with his hands and benefit himself and also give in charity, from what he earns. The people further asked, if he cannot find even that? He replied, he should help the needy who appeal for help. Then the people asked, if he cannot do that? He replied, then he should perform good deeds and keep away from evil deeds, and this will be regarded as charitable deeds. Hadith 49. Narrated Mariya, a sheep was sent to me, Nusaybah al-Ansariya, in charity, and I sent some of it to Aisha. The Prophet asked Aisha for something to eat. Aisha replied that there was nothing except what Nusaybah al-Ansariya had sent of that sheep. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to her, bring it as it has reached its place. Hadith 50. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, there is no zakat on less than 5 camels, and also there is no zakat on less than 5 awaq, of silver, 5 awaq equals 200 dirhams. And there is no zakat on less than 5 awsuq, a special measure of food grains, and 1 wasq equals 60 sa'as. For gold, 20 dinars, that is, equal to 12 guinea English. No zakat for less than 12 guinea, English, of gold, or for silver less than 22 francs riyals of Yemen. Narrated Abi Sa'id al-Khudri, I heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, as above. Hadith 51. Narrated Anas, Abu Bakr wrote to me what Allah had instructed his apostle, peace and blessings be upon him, to do regarding the one, who had to pay 1 bint makad, that is, 1-year-old she-camel, as zakat, and he did not have it, but had got bint labun, 2-year-old she-camel. He wrote that, it could be accepted from him as zakat, and the collector of zakat would return him 20 dirhams or 2 sheep, and if the zakat payer had not a bint makad, but he had ibn labun, a 2-year-old he-camel, then it could be accepted as his zakat, but he would not be paid anything. Hadith 52. Narrated Ibn Abbas, I am a witness that Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, offered the Eid prayer before delivering the sermon, and then he thought that the women would not be able to hear him, because of the distance, so he went to them along with Bilal, who was spreading his garment. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, advised and ordered them to give in charity. So the women started giving their ornaments, in charity. The sub-narrator Ayyub pointed towards his ears and neck, meaning that they gave ornaments from those places such as earrings and necklaces. Hadith 53. Narrated Anas, Abu Bakr wrote to me what was made compulsory by Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and that was, regarding the payments of zakat, neither the property of different people may be taken together, nor the joint property may be split for fear of paying more, or receiving less, zakat. Hadith 54. Narrated Anas, Abu Bakr wrote to me what Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, has made compulsory, regarding zakat, and this was mentioned in it, if a property is equally owned by 2 partners, they should pay the combined zakat and it will be considered that both of them have paid their zakat equally. Hadith 55. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, a Bedouin asked Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, about the emigration. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, may Allah have mercy on you. The matter of emigration is very hard. Have you got camels? Do you pay their zakat? The Bedouin said, yes, I have camels and I pay their zakat. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, work beyond the seas and Allah will not decrease, waste, any of your good deeds. Hadith 56. Narrated Anas, Abu Bakr wrote to me about the zakat which Allah had ordered his apostle to observe, whoever had to pay jadaha, Judaha means a 4-year-old she-camel, as zakat from his herd of camels and he had not got one, and he had hikka, 3-year-old she-camel, that hikka should be accepted from him along with 2 sheep if they were available, or 20 dirhams. 1 dirham equals about 1/4 Saudi riyal. And whoever had to pay hikka as zakat and he had no hikka but had a judaha, the judaha should be accepted from him, and the zakat collector should repay him 20 dirhams or 2 sheep. And whoever had to pay hikka as zakat and he had not got one, but had a bint labun, 2-year-old she-camel, it should be accepted from him along with 2 sheep or 20 dirhams. And whoever had to pay bint labun and had a hikka, that hikka should be accepted from him, and the zakat collector should repay him 20 dirhams or 2 sheep. And whoever had to pay bint labun and he had not got one but had a bint makad, 1-year-old she-camel, that bint makad should be accepted from him along with 20 dirhams or 2 sheep. Hadith 57. Narrated on us, when Abu Bakr sent me to collect the zakat from Bahrain, he wrote to me the following: in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. These are the orders for compulsory charity, zakat, which Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, had made obligatory for every Muslim, and which Allah had ordered his apostle to observe. Whoever amongst the Muslims is asked to pay zakat accordingly, he should pay it to the zakat collector, and whoever is asked more than that, what is specified in this script, he should not pay it. For 24 camels or less, sheep are to be paid as zakat. For every 5 camels 1 sheep is to be paid, and if there are between 25 to 35 camels, 1 bint makad is to be paid. And if there are between 36 to 45 camels, 1 bint labun is to be paid. And if there are between 46 to 60 camels, 1 hikka is to be paid. And if the number is between 61 to 75 camels, 1 judha is to be paid. And if the number is between 76 to 90 camels, 2 bint labuns are to be paid. And if they are from 91 to 120 camels, 2 hikkas are to be paid. And if they are over 120 camels, for every 40, over 120, 1 bint labun is to be paid, and for every 50 camels, over 120, 1 hikka is to be paid. And whoever has got only 4 camels, has to pay nothing as zakat, but if the owner of these 4 camels wants to give something, he can. If the number of camels increases to 5, the owner has to pay 1 sheep as zakat. As regards the zakat for the flock of sheep, if they are between 40 and 120 sheep, 1 sheep is to be paid. And if they are between 120 to 200 sheep, 2 sheep are to be paid. And if they are between 200 to 300 sheep, 3 sheep are to be paid, and for over 300 sheep, for every extra 100 sheep, 1 sheep is to be paid as zakat. And if somebody has got less than 40 sheep, no zakat is required, but if he wants to give, he can. For silver, the zakat is 1/40th of the lot, that is, 2.5%, and if its value is less than 200 dirhams, zakat is not required, but if the owner wants to pay, he can. Hadith 58. Narrated on us, Abu Bakr wrote to me what Allah had ordered his apostle, about zakat, which goes, neither an old nor a defected animal, nor a male goat may be taken as zakat except if the zakat collector wishes to take it. Hadith 59. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Abu Bakr said, by Allah, if they pay me the zakat and withhold even a young, female, goat which they used to pay during the lifetime of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, I will fight with them for it. Umar said, it was nothing but Allah who opened Abu Bakr's chest towards the decision to fight, and I came to know that his decision was right. Hadith 60. Narrated Ibn Abbas, when Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, sent Mu'adh to Yemen, he said to him, you are going to people of a divine book. First of all invite them to worship Allah alone, and when they come to know Allah, inform them that Allah has enjoined on them 5 prayers in every day and night, and if they start offering these prayers, inform them that Allah has enjoined on them the zakat. And it is to be taken from the rich amongst them and given to the poor amongst them, and if they obey you in that, take zakat from them and avoid, don't take, the best property of the people as zakat. Hadith 61. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, no zakat is imposed on less than 5 Awsuq of dates, no zakat is imposed on less than 5 awaq of silver, and no zakat is imposed on less than 5 camels. Hadith 62. Narrated Abu Dar, once I went to him, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and he said, by Allah in whose hands my life is, or probably said, by Allah, except whom none has the right to be worshipped, whoever had camels or cows or sheep and did not pay their zakat, those animals will be brought on the day of resurrection far bigger and fatter than before, and they will tread him under their hooves, and will butt him with their horns, and those animals will come in circle. When the last does its turn, the first will start again, and this punishment will go on till Allah has finished the judgments amongst the people. Hadith 63. Narrated Ishaq bin Abdullah bin Abi Talha, I heard Anas bin Malik saying, Abu Talha had more property of date palm trees gardens than any other amongst the Ansar in Medina, and the most beloved of them to him was Bai'a garden, and it was in front of the mosque of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, used to go there and used to drink its nice water. Anas added, when these verses were revealed, by no means shall you attain righteousness unless you spend, in charity, of that which you love. Surah 3, Ayah 92, Abu Talha said to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Allah, the Blessed, the Superior says, by no means shall you attain righteousness, unless you spend, in charity, of that which you love. And no doubt, Bai'a garden is the most beloved of all my property to me. So I want to give it in charity in Allah's cause. I expect its reward from Allah. O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Spend it where Allah makes you think it feasible. On that Allah's Apostle said, bravo. It is useful property. I have heard what you have said, O Abu Talha, and I think it would be proper if you gave it to your kith and kin. Abu Talha said, I will do so, O Allah's Apostle. Then Abu Talha distributed that garden amongst his relatives and his cousins. Hadith 64. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, on Eid al-Fitr or Eid al-Adha, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, went out to the musalla. After finishing the prayer, he delivered the sermon and ordered the people to give alms. He said, O people! Give alms. Then he went towards the women and said, O women! Give alms, for I have seen that the majority of the dwellers of hellfire were you, women. The women asked, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. What is the reason for it? He replied, O women! You curse frequently, and are ungrateful to your husbands. I have not seen anyone more deficient in intelligence and religion than you. O women, some of you can lead a cautious wise man astray. Then he left. And when he reached his house, Zainab, the wife of Ibn Mas'ud, came and asked permission to enter. It was said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. It is Zainab. He asked, which Zainab? The reply was that she was the wife of Ibn Mas'ud. He said, yes, allow her to enter. And she was admitted. Then she said, O Prophet of Allah! Today you ordered people to give alms and I had an ornament and intended to give it as alms, but Ibn Mas'ud said that he and his children deserved it more than anybody else. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, replied, Ibn Mas'ud had spoken the truth. Your husband and your children had more right to it than anybody else. Hadith 65. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, there is no zakat either on a horse or a slave belonging to a Muslim. Hadith 66. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "There is no zakat either on a slave or on a horse belonging to a Muslim." Hadith 67. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, once the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, sat on a pulpit and we sat around him. Then he said, "The things I am afraid of most for your sake, concerning what will befall you after me, is the pleasures and splendors of the world and its beauties which will be disclosed to you." Somebody said, "O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Can the good bring forth evil?" The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, remained silent for a while. It was said to that person, "What is wrong with you? You are talking to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, while he is not talking to you." Then we noticed that he was being inspired divinely. Then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, wiped off his sweat and said, "Where is the questioner?" It seemed as if the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, liked his question. Then he said, "Good never brings forth evil. Indeed it is like what grows on the banks of a water stream which either kill or make the animals sick, except if an animal eats its fill the qadara, a kind of vegetable, and then faces the sun, and then defecates and urinates and grazes again. No doubt this wealth is sweet and green. Blessed is the wealth of a Muslim from which he gives to the poor, the orphans and to needy travelers." Or the Prophet said something similar to it. No doubt, whoever takes it illegally will be like the one who eats but is never satisfied, and his wealth will be a witness against him on the day of resurrection. Hadith 68. Narrated Amr bin al-Harith, Zainab, the wife of Abdullah said, "I was in the mosque and saw the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, 'O women, give alms even from your ornaments.'" Zainab used to provide for Abdullah and those orphans who were under her protection. So she said to Abdullah, "Will you ask Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, whether it will be sufficient for me to spend part of the zakat on you and the orphans who are under my protection?" He replied, "Will you yourself ask Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him?" Zainab added, "So I went to the Prophet and I saw there an Ansari woman who was standing at the door of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, with a similar problem as mine. Bilal passed by us and we asked him, 'Ask the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, whether it is permissible for me to spend the zakat on my husband and the orphans under my protection.' And we requested Bilal not to inform the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, about us. So Bilal went inside and asked the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, regarding our problem. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked, 'Who are those two?' Bilal replied that she was Zainab. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, 'Which Zainab?' Bilal said, 'The wife of Abdullah bin Mas'ud.' The Prophet said, 'Yes, it is sufficient for her, and she will receive a double reward, for that, one for helping relatives, and the other for giving zakat.'" Hadith 69. Narrated Zainab, the daughter of Salama, "My mother said, 'O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Shall I receive a reward if I spend for the sustenance of Abu Salama's offspring, and in fact they are also my sons?' The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, replied, 'Spend on them and you will get a reward for what you spend on them.'" Hadith 70. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered a person to collect zakat, and that person returned and told him that Ibn Jamil, Khalid bin al-Walid, and Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib had refused to give zakat. The Prophet said, "What made Ibn Jamil refuse to give zakat though he was a poor man, and was made wealthy by Allah and his apostle? But you are unfair in asking zakat from Khalid as he is keeping his armor for Allah's cause, for jihad. As for Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib, he is the uncle of Allah's apostle, peace and blessings be upon him, and zakat is compulsory on him and he should pay it double." Hadith 71. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, some Ansari persons asked for something from Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and he gave them. They again asked him for something, and he again gave them. And then they asked him and he gave them again till all that was with him finished. And then he said, if I had anything, I would not keep it away from you. Remember, whoever abstains from asking others, Allah will make him contented, and whoever tries to make himself self-sufficient, Allah will make him self-sufficient. And whoever remains patient, Allah will make him patient. Nobody can be given a blessing better and greater than patience. Hadith 72. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, by him in whose hand my life is, it is better for any one of you to take a rope and cut the wood from the forest, and carry it over his back and sell it, as a means of earning his living, rather than to ask a person for something, and that person may give him or not. Hadith 73. Narrated Az-Zubayr bin al-Awwam, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, it is better for any one of you to take a rope and cut, and bring a bundle of wood from the forest over his back and sell it, and Allah will save his face from the hellfire because of that, rather than to ask the people who may give him or not. Hadith 74. Narrated Urwah bin Az-Zubayr and Sa'id bin al-Musayyab, Hakim bin Hizam said, once, I asked Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, for something, and he gave it to me. Again I asked and he gave it to me. Again I asked and he gave it to me. And then he said, O Hakim, this property is like a sweet fresh fruit, whoever takes it without greediness, he is blessed in it, and whoever takes it with greediness, he is not blessed in it, and he is like a person who eats but is never satisfied, and the upper, giving, hand is better than the lower, receiving, hand. Hakim added, I said to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, by him, Allah, who sent you with the truth, I shall never accept anything from anybody after you, till I leave this world. Then Abu Bakr, during his caliphate, called Hakim to give him his share from the war booty. Like the other companions of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he refused to accept anything. Then Umar, during his caliphate, called him to give him his share but he refused. On that Umar said, O Muslims! I would like you to witness that I offered Hakim his share from this booty, and he refused to take it. So Hakim never took anything from anybody after the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, till he died. Hadith 75. Narrated Umar, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, used to give me something, but I would say to him, would you give it to a poorer and more needy one than I? The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to me, take it. If you are given something from this property, without asking for it or having greed for it, take it, and if not given, do not run for it. Hadith 76. Narrated Abdullah bin Umar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, a man keeps on asking others for something till he comes on the day of resurrection without any piece of flesh on his face. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, added, on the day of resurrection, the sun will come near to the people, to such an extent that the sweat will reach up to the middle of the ears, so, when all the people are in that state, they will ask Adam for help, and then Moses, and then Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. The sub-narrator added, Muhammad will intercede with Allah to judge amongst the people. He will proceed on till he will hold the ring of the door of paradise, and then Allah will exalt him to Maqam Mahmud, the privilege of intercession, etc. And all the people of the gathering will send their praises to Allah. Hadith 77. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the poor person is not the one who asks a morsel or two of meals from the others, but the poor is the one who has nothing and is ashamed to beg from others. Hadith 78. Narrated Ash-Shu'abi, the clerk of Al-Mughirah bin Shu'bah narrated, Muawiyah wrote to Al-Mughirah bin Shu'bah, write to me something which you have heard from the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. So Al-Mughirah wrote, I heard the Prophet saying, Allah has hated for you 3 things, 1. Vain talks, useless talk, that you talk too much or about others. 2. Wasting of wealth, by extravagance. 3. And asking too many questions, in disputed religious matters, or asking others for something, except in great need. Hadith 79. Narrated Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, distributed something, from the resources of Zakat, amongst a group of people while I was sitting amongst them, but he left a man whom I considered the best of the lot. So, I went up to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and asked him secretly, why have you left that person? By Allah, I consider him a believer. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, or merely a Muslim, who surrender to Allah. I remained quiet for a while, but could not help repeating my question because of what I knew about him. I said, O Allah's Apostle, why have you left that person? By Allah, I consider him a believer. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, or merely a Muslim. I remained quiet for a while, but could not help repeating my question because of what I knew about him. I said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, why have you left that person? By Allah, I consider him a believer. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, or merely a Muslim. Then Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, I give to a person while another is dearer to me, for fear that he may be thrown in the hellfire on his face, by reneging from Islam. Hadith 80. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the poor person is not the one who goes round the people and asks them for a mouthful or two, of meals, or a date or two, but the poor is that who has not enough money to satisfy his needs and whose condition is not known to others, that others may give him something in charity, and who does not beg of people. Hadith 81. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, no doubt, it is better for a person to take a rope and proceed in the morning to the mountains and cut the wood and then sell it, and eat from this income and give alms from it, than to ask others for something. Hadith 82. Narrated Abu Humayd as-Sa'idi, we took part in the holy battle of Tabuk in the company of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and when we arrived at the Wadi al-Qura, there was a woman in her garden. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked his companions to estimate the amount of the fruits in the garden, and Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, estimated it at 10 Awsuq, 1 wask equals 60 sa'as and 1 sa' equals 3 kg approximately. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to that lady, check what your garden will yield. When we reached Tabuk, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, there will be a strong wind tonight and so no one should stand, and whoever has a camel, should fasten it. So we fastened our camels. A strong wind blew at night and a man stood up and he was blown away to a mountain called Tai. The king of Ayla sent a white mule and a sheet for wearing to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, as a present, and wrote to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, that his people would stay in their place, and will pay jizya taxation. When the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, reached Wadi al-Qura, he asked that woman how much her garden had yielded. She said, 10 Awsuq, and that was what Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, had estimated. Then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, I want to reach Medina quickly, and whoever among you wants to accompany me, should hurry up. The sub-narrator Ibn Bakkar said something which meant, when the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saw Medina he said, this is Taba. And when he saw the mountain of Uhud, he said, this mountain loves us and we love it. Shall I tell you of the best amongst the Ansar? They replied in the affirmative. He said, the family of Bani an-Najjar, and then the family of Bani Sa'ida or Bani al-Harith bin al-Khazraj. The above-mentioned are the best, but there is goodness in all the families of Ansar. Hadith 83. Narrated Salim bin Abdullah from his father, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, on a land irrigated by rain water or by natural water channels or if the land is wet due to a nearby water channel, ushr, that is, 1/10, is compulsory, as Zakat, and on the land irrigated by the well, half of an ushr, that is, 1/20th, is compulsory, as Zakat on the yield of the land. Hadith 84. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, there is no zakat on less than 5 Awsuq of dates, or on less than 5 camels, or on less than 5 awaq of silver. Hadith 85. Narrated Abu Hurairah, dates used to be brought to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, immediately after being plucked. Different persons would bring their dates till a big heap collected, in front of the Prophet. Once Al-Hasan and Al-Husayn were playing with these dates. One of them took a date and put it in his mouth. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, looked at him and took it out from his mouth and said, don't you know that Muhammad's offspring do not eat what is given in charity? Hadith 86. Narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, had forbidden the sale of dates till they were good, ripe, and when it was asked what it meant, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, till there is no danger of blight. Hadith 87. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, had forbidden the sale of fruits till they were ripe, free from blight. Hadith 88. Narrated Anas bin Malik, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, forbade the selling of fruits until they were ripe. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, added, it means that they become red. Hadith 89. Narrated Abdullah bin Umar, Umar bin al-Khattab gave a horse in charity in Allah's cause, and later he saw it being sold in the market and intended to purchase it. Then he went to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and asked his permission. The Prophet said, do not take back what you have given in charity. For this reason, Ibn Umar never purchased the things which he had given in charity, and in case he had purchased something, unknowingly, he would give it in charity again. Hadith 90. Narrated Umar, once I gave a horse in Allah's cause, in charity, but that person did not take care of it. I intended to buy it, as I thought he would sell it at a low price. So, I asked the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, about it. He said, neither buy, nor take back your alms which you have given, even if the seller were willing to sell it for 1 dirham, for he who takes back his alms is like the one who swallows his own vomit. Hadith 91. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Al-Hasan bin Ali took a date from the dates given in charity and put it in his mouth. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, expel it from your mouth. Don't you know that we do not eat a thing which is given in charity? Hadith 92. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saw a dead sheep which had been given in charity to a freed slave girl of Maimuna, the wife of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, why don't you get the benefit of its hide? They said, it is dead. He replied, only to eat, its meat, is illegal. Hadith 93. Narrated Al-Aswad, Aisha intended to buy Barira, a slave girl, in order to manumit her, and her masters intended to put the condition that her al-wala would be for them. Aisha mentioned that to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, who said to her, buy her, as the wala is for the manumitted. Once some meat was presented to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and Aisha said to him, this meat was given in charity to Barira. He said, it is an object of charity for Barira, but a gift for us. Hadith 94. Narrated Atiyya al-Ansariya, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, went to Aisha and asked her whether she had something to eat. She replied that she had nothing except the mutton, piece, which Nusaybah, Atiyya, had sent to us, Barira, in charity. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, it has reached its place, and now it is not a thing of charity but a gift for us. Hadith 95. Narrated Anas, Some meat was presented to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and it had been given to Barira, the freed slave girl of Aisha, in charity. He said, "This meat is a thing of charity for Barira, but it is a gift for us." Hadith 96. Narrated Abu Ma'bad, the slave of Ibn Abbas, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said to Mu'adh when he sent him to Yemen, "You will go to the people of the scripture. So, when you reach there, invite them to testify that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, and that Muhammad is his apostle. And if they obey you in that, tell them that Allah has enjoined on them 5 prayers in each day and night. And if they obey you in that, tell them that Allah has made it obligatory on them to pay the zakat which will be taken from the rich among them and given to the poor among them. If they obey you in that, then avoid taking the best of their possessions, and be afraid of the curse of an oppressed person because there is no screen between his invocation and Allah." Hadith 97. Narrated Abdullah bin Abu Awfa, whenever a person came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, with his alms, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, would say, "O Allah, send your blessings upon so and so. My father went to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, with his alms, and the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, O Allah, send your blessings upon the offspring of Abu Awfa." Hadith 98. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "A man from Bani Israel asked someone from Bani Israel to give him a loan of 1,000 dinars, and the later gave it to him. The debtor went on a voyage, when the time for the payment of the debt became due, but he did not find a boat, so he took a piece of wood and bored it, and put 1,000 dinars in it and threw it into the sea. The creditor went out and took the piece of wood to his family to be used as firewood. And the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, narrated the narration, and said, when he sawed the wood, he found his money." Hadith 99. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "There is no compensation for one killed or wounded by an animal or by falling in a well, or because of working in mines, but kumus is compulsory on rikaz." Hadith 100. Narrated Abu Humayd as-Sa'idi, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, appointed a man called Ibn al-Bai'a, from the tribe of Al-Asd to collect Zakat from Bani Sulaym. When he returned, after collecting the Zakat, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, checked the account with him. Hadith 101. Narrated Anas, some people from Uraina tribe came to Medina and its climate did not suit them, so Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, allowed them to go to the herd of camels, given as zakat, and they drank their milk and urine, as medicine, but they killed the shepherd and drove away all the camels. So Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, sent men in their pursuit to catch them, and they were brought, and he had their hands and feet cut, and their eyes were branded with heated pieces of iron, and they were left in the Hara, a stony place at Medina, biting the stones. Hadith 102. Narrated Anas bin Malik, I took Abdullah bin Abu Talha to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, to perform tahniq for him. Tahniq was a custom among the Muslims that whenever a child was born, they used to take it to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, who would chew a piece of date and put a part of its juice in the child's mouth. I saw the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and he had an instrument for branding in his hands and was branding the camels of Zakat. Hadith 103. Narrated Ibn Umar, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, enjoined the payment of 1 sa of dates or 1 sa of barley as Zakat-ul-Fitr on every Muslim slave or free, male or female, young or old, and he ordered that it be paid before the people went out to offer the Eid prayer. 1 sa equals 3 kilograms approximately. Hadith 104. Narrated Ibn Umar, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, made it incumbent on all the slave or free Muslims, male or female, to pay 1 sa of dates or barley as Zakat-ul-Fitr. Hadith 105. Narrated Abu Sa'id, we used to give 1 sa of barley as Sadaqat-ul-Fitr per head. Hadith 106. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, we used to give 1 sa of meal, or 1 sa of barley, or 1 sa of dates, or 1 sa of cottage cheese, or 1 sa of raisins, dried grapes, as Zakat-ul-Fitr. Hadith 107. Narrated Abdullah bin Umar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered Muslims to give 1 sa of dates or 1 sa of barley as Zakat-ul-Fitr. The people regarded 2 muds of wheat as equal to that. Hadith 108. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, in the lifetime of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, we used to give 1 sa of food, or 1 sa of dates, or 1 sa of barley, or 1 sa of raisins, dried grapes, as Sadaqat-ul-Fitr. And when Muawiyah became the caliph and the wheat was available in abundance, he said, I think, observe, that 1 mud of wheat equals 2 muds of any of the above mentioned things. Hadith 109. Narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered the people to pay Zakat-ul-Fitr before going to the Eid prayer. Hadith 110. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, in the lifetime of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, we used to give 1 sa of food, edible things, as Sadaqat-ul-Fitr, to the poor. Our food used to be either of barley, raisins, dried grapes, cottage cheese or dates. Hadith 111. Narrated Nafi, Ibn Umar said, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, made incumbent on every male or female, free man or slave, the payment of 1 sa of dates or barley as Sadaqat-ul-Fitr, or said Sadaqah Ramadan. The people then substituted half sa of wheat for that. Ibn Umar used to give dates, as Sadaqat-ul-Fitr. Once there was scarcity of dates in Medina and Ibn Umar gave barley. And Ibn Umar used to give Sadaqat-ul-Fitr for every young and old person. He even used to give on behalf of my children. Ibn Umar used to give Sadaqat-ul-Fitr to those who had been officially appointed for its collection. People used to give Sadaqat-ul-Fitr, even, a day or 2 before the Eid. Hadith 112. Narrated Ibn Umar, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, has made Sadaqat-ul-Fitr obligatory, and it was either 1 sa of barley or 1 sa of dates, and its payment was obligatory, on young and old people, and on free men as well as on slaves.